Sorry if there's a little bit of background noise. There's a television going in the other room. Kyrgyzstan is a country between, Kyrgyzstan. It borders China, Tajikistan, Uzbekistan. It's a Central Asian country with a Turkic population, 90% Muslim, about 7 million people. So it's pretty small in the grand scheme of things, which is why I think it always gets overlooked, which is the exact reason that I'm doing a presentation about it. But unfortunately, it also means that it's very hard to get an English translation or even a summary of the epic poem that I'm going to be talking about. Because, well, first of all, the USSR tried to ban it. It's called the Epic of Manas, and it's the basically like the creation story of Kyrgyzstan. It's not like a mythical creation story, like the creation of the world. It's a literal creation of the country of Kyrgyzstan. But the yeah, for a brief period, while the USSR was a thing, Kyrgyzstan was part of it, and the USSR, for whatever reason, thought it was too religious or something, so they banned the poem. But it's lived on since then. So, got my notes here. So, the Epic of Manas is a poem of the Kyrgyz people, the Kyrgyzstani people. The name Kyrgyzstan derives from the word for 40 because of the belief that Manas was the first king, or Khan would be the Turkic word, the first Khan of Kyrgyzstan, and he had 40 tribes. So they named Kyrgyzstan after the 40 tribes of Manas. Um, they also have 40 rays of sun on their flag. Let me just get a picture of this real quick. There we go. There's their flag. It's got 40 rays of sun on it, representing the 40 clans of Manas. So makes it pretty clear how culturally significant the Epic of Manas is to this people. They're named after it. It's on their flag. Manas was their first king. So it's traditionally chanted. It's an oral poem, which means it took a very long time for anyone to write it down. It mostly gets passed along through being chanted, not being written down. And because of that, there are some inconsistencies in the way the story is told. It's not always told in the exact same way, because it's not written down. It's not written in stone, so to speak. It's also because the USSR tried to ban it a little bit, and it's not really written down. There are very few translations of it. There are some translations into Russian. I don't know if there's ever been a full translation into English. I mean, I know parts of it have been translated into English, but even finding a summary of the story in English is pretty hard. It's mostly spoken in the Kyrgyz language. I believe it's just called Kyrgyz, not Kyrgyc or Kyrgyzstani. It's just Kyrgyz. It's the name of their language. Only about 7 million people speak it natively, so it's hard to get a translation, or even a summary. Uh, in most retellings of the story, what stays the same is there's a group of Mongols called the Oirats, and the Turkic people living in the Balkan region were at war with the Mongols, because the Mongols are basically at war with everyone. If you know anything about the Mongols, I think this was around the 1500s. The Mongols were at war with everyone. They were a nomadic warrior tribe, and the Turks in this time were also nomadic. They still kind of are. Some of them, more traditional ones, are nomadic. So the nomadic Mongolians were at war with the Turks. So there's a shepherd, nomadic shepherd named Jacob, is where the Epic of Manas begins. And Jacob gives birth, well, doesn't give birth, has a son named Menace, and he grows into a legendary warrior, sort of like Ajax or Gilgamesh. You know, it's a very traditional, the mythic hero who grows into a legendary warrior, and he unites the tribes, the various Turkic tribes around the Kyrgyzstan region. He unites them into Kyrgyzstan, and that's the founding tale. So he goes to war with the Mongols. He goes to war with the, I believe, the Afghans as well, and creates an alliance with them. And then the story is a trilogy. The first book being about Manas, and then he has a son named Semeti, who the second book is about, and Semeti has a son named Satek, that the third book is about. So basically, the Mongols try to kidnap Manas, but Manas, unites the Kyrgyzstani people, builds an army, and defeats the Mongols. And that's the creation story of the country of Kyrgyzstan. They have people called Manasjis who spend their entire life memorizing the poem, or whatever version of the poem they want to tell. And you can find videos online of these people just chanting the poem in the original language. It's kind of musical. There are no instruments, but it's a rhythmic chant. And these chants can go on for 111 hours. It's 500,000 verses long, one of the longest epics ever told. In terms of verses, there are some poems that have more words. They're actually longer, but they don't have as many verses. Like the there's a Hindu one that's very long. I forgot the name of it, but yeah, that one's longer in terms of words, but not in terms of verses. Yeah, different retellings of the story throughout the generations have changed different parts of the story, so it's very hard to get like a translation of the story, and it might even be impossible. I know parts of it have been translated, but all 500,000 verses probably not. Yeah, it dates back to the 16th century, possibly to a real person. Although in the story he's a legendary figure who does legendary things, sort of like Ajax and all of those sort of Greek heroes, Hercules and all of them. But he might have been based on a real person. And that's basically all there is to say about it. People of the Kyrgyzstani, or whatever it's called, ethnicity, are very proud of this tale, and it's a large part of their culture. And if you look up a video of it, you'll see like very old looking people sitting on the side of a mountain next to like a yurt or a tent of some kind, just chanting the poem for hours on end. It's very interesting. And I guess that's all.